I'm pretty freaking hungover. I woke up like 4 times in the middle of the night last night. And then I get a text this morning from Bradley Hall in our little group chat being like, "Oh, I might have you heard the new Avenged Sevenfold." And I realize my day's ruined. Look, people get confused as if I hate Avenged Sevenfold. I don't. They are permanently banned on my live stream for song suggestions. Not because I dislike them, but because y'all won't shut up about them. I have nothing new to say about any of the existing Avenged Sevenfold catalog. This song is a different story. Brad sounded pretty excited about it, and after listening to it, I'm interested. There's things to pick apart, but we'll get there. Let's get started with this 6-minute beast. Okay, a couple of things I'm noticing. One, I'm pretty sure that's a guitar that's just like mega saturated, bunch of effects on it to give it something like a really hot, growly synthesizer. In between this and the almost very obviously not real cymbal work going on through this verse, people are gonna be like, "Oh, they became Imagine Dragons. They've completely sold out now. They're terrible. The worst thing ever," because they're not strictly the exact sound of metal you want them to be. Like, I wouldn't say these sounds are new, but they are new for Avenged Sevenfold, and it's interesting hearing their interpretation with this timbre palette and this writing style. I absolutely need to talk about the drum shells, but we're gonna get there. Let's keep listening. So this is one of the primary reasons why I almost exclusively avoid doing video when I'm listening to songs or when I'm taking suggestions on my live stream. Videos or visuals color your perception of what you're hearing and listening to and your emotional reaction to it. And that's not inherently a bad thing, but if I'm gonna judge music on music, it needs to be because of the sound itself, right? This music video is really cool. I think that it fits the vibe of the song great. I think they did a cool job with it, all this stop animation, as we'll see as we go through. Lots of really cool miniature work. But having such good compatibility between audio and visual can sometimes make you miss or overlook some of the shortcomings of the audio. I really, really do not like the mix of these drum shells. The cymbals sound really nice. Whatever they did with the overheads, or maybe it's all samples, who knows. They did a really good job with them. The way that they mixed these shells is so unsatisfying. I listened through my phone, not nearly as much of an issue, but still really clacky, metallic, almost like they super brightened the transients. When I listened to them in my focals, they sounded almost lo-fi and very dark, almost like they were trying to emulate something of an electronic or hip-hop 808 sampling, or like how back in the day, old hip-hop recordings had to sample basically the lo-fi media they had available to them, and a bunch of that was a bunch of old Motown stuff, so it already was suffering from a bunch of technological issues, and they had to sample it at a lower rate, so it wasn't like really great representation of what was on there. My intuition says that's what that shell mix is supposed to be, but they also wanted it to still be Avenged Sevenfold metal stuff, so they wanted that metallic clacky sound, and the result just sounds like shit. I'm just so not in favor of these kick and snare sounds at all. Overall, I like the timbre of what's going on with the bass and the guitar, the little half-step slide thing. Again, listening in my focals, it seemed like there was something going on between like 275 and like 375 that really needed to be honed in a little bit better, just a little bit of a dip. Considering that's a space where most metal ducks most instruments because it feels kind of boxy, muddy, cloudy, however you want to describe it, maybe they wanted to try something completely as the opposite to get a different emotion across. Either way, I'm not in love with it, but I don't hate it. I really like how they start bringing in the other elements in the background. These little samples, these little keys patches, something that's almost like a little bit percussive metallic back there too. Really nice, and especially with the mode and melody change. And you're still kind of sticking with what's essentially a pedal, the which as we go on, I think I want a little more variety. I think it's a little repetitive, sticking on that pedal theme type of thing, but it's not the worst. And then we kind of splash out and let everything sink away with that theme to where it all feels very empty by comparison, which is cool. I like that. And then we go to essentially a shitty little string pad, but because of how electronic everything else already sounds that we've been introduced to, this shitty little string pad actually works quite nicely. If it was a more traditional Avenged Sevenfold song, you would probably want something closer to real strings or like string samples. And you could do that here, but I don't know if it would fit the mood as well. Now, I know Avenged Sevenfold have been known to do some experimentation throughout their whole catalog. I wouldn't say it's as often as I would love, but in this case, this as a single gets me very interested to hear how different the rest of the album will sound from their existing catalog. I can see those guitar arpeggios being very controversial. There's going to be people that are going to be like, what the hell? That is completely not fitting at all with what was going on. There's going to be other people who are like, oh, thank God, there's some metal in this song. As a composition, I think the arpeggios work. I might have played around with a little bit more articulation differences, maybe like a muted type of thing, but I don't know if that would have been better or not. They probably did toy with a few different things, honestly. Okay, everyone's been waiting for it. We're talking about the vocals, M Shadows. My primary complaint with Avenged Sevenfold throughout their entire career is that I really don't like how nasally M Shadow's vocals are. And on this track, they are not nasally. You still get that thinner fry that sounds like he's almost kind of struggling and compressing really hard, but it's not like that. It's none of that stuff coming through. I am so incredibly relieved that that's not happening anymore. Thank you so much, Avenged Sevenfold. I have no idea if you were listening to me or not. I can't tell you how happy I am to not be upset with M Shadow's singing voice. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, having said that, besides vocal performance, vocal writing in this song, excellent. Really good melodies, hooky. I think they do a great job of blending hip-hop melody writing sensibilities with their usual darker, more Aeolian-based Avenged Sevenfold style. Now, having said all that, vocal production, I don't know exactly what they were trying to do. Again, it seems like maybe they were trying to go for a lo-fi thing, but it just doesn't come across that way. This thing kind of sounds like a well-mixed demo to me overall than it does a finished product, like a mastered demo. I'm not sold on this sound design. The vocals are definitely quiet. I feel like they're kind of undercompressed or maybe even just underlimited, and they're very hard to understand what the hell he's saying, especially when the loudness is that low. Not to mention, they are super dry. I'm pretty sure I hear the hints of like a delay or a very large reverb on them that like kind of poke through every once in a while, but it's so near impossible to even notice that I just say there's nothing on it. There's no room on it. That and like everything else on this track, with the exception of the cymbals and the guitars, everything is very dark, and there is no top-end hyping that I can tell on the vocals that's noticeable. It contributes again to it not feeling clear, not feeling incredibly balanced, kind of mid-rangey, little bit clouded, a little bit obscured. I really, really don't care for this production myself. I mean, I could be wrong. There could be a lot of people who love it and they get it. So I'm more than happy to be wrong on this one if that's the case. This is just my gut intuition. Okay. That's either a trombone or a euphonium, and I'm not sure which. It's so low in the register, but also very barky and mid-rangey bright type of like overtones coming off of those horns. But again, with the sound design, it seemed like the bark and the overtones are very accentuated, almost like they put odd order harmonic saturation underneath a toned instrument, a pitched instrument, which is like not usually the move. If you just want a texture there, I totally get that. But also, like, especially in my focals, it felt so incredibly crowded at this part in the mid-range. Like, the guitar, the vocal, and that thing were fighting each other so hard. In these headphones, it sounds like everything is separated really nicely. In different consumer grade stuff, it feels like it's kind of fighting each other, and I'm not sure why. I'm willing to bet that can even come down to a mastering issue, not a mix issue necessarily. Just out of nowhere, randomly drops to just a cappella and almost like a quasi soul men's choir. I dig it. I'm 100% in on this version of Avenged Sevenfold. That's dope as hell. Sounded sexy, fit the mood great, especially with that much tension being built, that much raucousness that was going on, again, with all the things I was talking about that are conflicting at the peak of, I guess that was a chorus. And then it drops out at the end of that to something very gentle, harmonious. All the overtones were blended really nice and actually probably mellowed the hell out. Quad vocal each of those things or something just to make it really delicious and smooth and creamy. Yeah, it was really cool. I liked that moment a lot. One of my favorite moments in this track. If something like that makes you think that Avenged Sevenfold sold out, you're dumb. You're just stupid. It's like saying the Black Men's Choral Group Take 6 sold out because like, oh, they did what black people do. That's selling out. And it brings it back well. Now, they just basically repeat that whole thing all over again until we get to the guitar solo, which I'm going to skip to here. But really quick, this is where I start to feel like the gets leaned into a little bit much, and I think I would prefer a little bit more arrangement differentiation going through this next round of verse, pre-chorus, chorus. I don't know for sure that that's a problem with the writing or the arrangement of this. It could very well just be my flavor and what I prefer. Definitely does keep grinding those vocal melodies into you, though, and I don't mind that at all. Okay. Interesting that they would choose in the first pre-chorus to have that shitty synth pad, and then once we get to the bridge, they have really articulate, clear string samples. Almost like there's intention here. Yes, I agree with both of these decisions. I think this is a good way of separating the kind of boxy, gross, distorted, non-harmonious shittiness of the first 2/3, and now we are segueing into the new scene, if you will, a different kind of sound design, a different kind of picture. Gross. It's like not even a fucking minor second. That's just horrific in a really cool way. Yeah, this particularly maintaining the same drum shell mix from prior really highlights how much I hate this mix on these drum shells. The cymbals sound really nice. The drum shells are fucking terrible. I really hate them a lot. I'm not going to go through the whole solo right now because I don't know that I need to in order to provide this commentary. The first 2 times listening to the solo, I'm not in love with it, but it suits the song well. I think it's all very appropriate to the mood. It is the sinister gates that we are all familiar with, and he doesn't let us down in any way. Kind of like a slightly more hip, more modernized, neoclassical kind of shred is how I would describe it. I also kind of prefer the fact that there's more humanity in his performance than most of these other modern day shredders who get it all like very perfect, very clean, too much to the point where it's like, why don't I just type this into the Guitar Pro? This feels like there's some messiness, there's some imperfections, but it all works well and serves the song and serves the performance. I really like that. I think that gives you that human element. Yeah, I thought it was a really good solo, but I mean, it's kind of weird to do verse, chorus, and then go into a bridge and end on a solo. What the hell kind of a structure is that? Oh wait, I did exactly that. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the new Avenged Sevenfold song, Nobody. Curious to know what yours are. I would say I am overall positive on it, even though I wish the production was different. I like them experimenting with new things. I like them trying to go into a new direction, and I think it's cool. I think it's worth exploring. That gets me interested in checking out more songs from that album. Anyway, go ahead and check out the Awful Music Podcast. Links to that are in the description down below. That's me and Casey Sable, former vocalist of Periphery, talking about music. Talking the conversations you're not going to have on other podcasts. I'll tell you that. Anyway, stay amazing, people. Love you.